This program is intended for mature audiences. Parental discretion is advised.
All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Pop Culture Podcast for Thursday, April 8th, 2021. It's a big day tomorrow for me. Anybody know what day it is tomorrow?
The 9th.
It's my birthday, bitch.
Whoa! All right.
49. I'm going to be 49. This is a hard one for me. Worse than 39. Almost 50. I don't know. I can't.
You have your midlife crisis yet?
Oh, just about. I think I'm going to go through that real soon. Not looking forward to it. But
I mean, 49. That's you're like 15 years past midlife crisis, right? You're like 3/4 around the circle of life, dude.
The way my life has been going, yeah, I've used up all my 9 lives. I've had some close calls. But anyway, our guest this week is Ron from the Racine Paranormal Investigators. He's the founder and lead investigator, which is a group that I actually just joined. So I'm
all right.
Pretty excited. Looking forward to getting out with the group and investigating and just having fun. Better than my last group. Ron, how you doing? Thanks for coming on.
Good. How are you guys doing?
Living the dream. Living that quarantine pandemic dream. Although it's almost over.
I know. It's been an interesting ride, and like I was just saying before, usually I'd be in my setup inside, but panel on my car fly off down the interstate. So we heard after that. So that was kind of interesting day. So nice to have mobile devices.
Oh heck yeah. That could kill someone. So yeah, got to be careful with that.
Could have been paranormal.
Could have been. Oh,
somebody didn't want you on here.
Could have been.
Yeah.
Some malevolent forces at work here.
Has it ever happened before? You see?
Hi, Molly. Hi, Missy.
Molly and Missy.
Hey, Missy.
Yes, yeah, Missy. We know Missy, and Missy's in Racine Paranormal Investigators. Like that was what a small world. Tom was commenting about that.
Yeah, well, it's funny thing with Missy is I've known Missy since since the 90s, or give or take, or something like that. When she used to work at Kmart, I worked at Kmart, and she then we've been friends for a while on Facebook also, and then later on we recently connected to start talking about this Paracon stuff because she has the experience in doing these types of events. Mm-hmm. And I just thought it was the right choice to bring her on for that. 98. Okay, thanks, Miss.
Wow.
Exact month or year, I mean. So I thought it would be a great idea to bring her on for that, and then eventually get her molded into the Racine Paranormal Investigators too. So
awesome. Yeah. I'm excited to be a part of that too.
Yeah.
Molly, LOL.
Yeah.
So Tom and I do a film festival.
Yeah.
This is our
cool.
Twisted Dreams Film Festival.
Yeah, Twisted Dreams Film Festival. Anyway, enough about that. Go ahead, Tom. You had something to say.
Well, I wanted to know, how did you what happened to you that you decided to start on a paranormal investigative team when you really got to almost believe in it, because half of the planet doesn't believe in it. So was there a specific story or something that happened to you when you were younger? Show me on the dial what happened to you to get you to start this.
Well, it's very interesting because anytime I would talk about ghosts, I would freak out, even in my adulthood. One thing I just not want to talk about at all, and I knew I lived in a haunted house, which I still do. And I knew that I've seen things here that I didn't have an explanation for. My ex-wife would see things, and her and I just wouldn't talk about it. I was like, no, I don't want to hear it. Mm-hmm. And then I was a DJ. I own a DJ company, And I was getting done with a wedding at the Masonic in Racine, and got ready to load up my van. And of course, I got one of these caravans that had no seats in the back, so I put all my gear in. It also doesn't have a mirror in the window, so I had my 2 mirrors on the side. So I literally saw a shadow type person go from one end to the mirror to the next end of the mirror on the passenger side. And if you've been to the Masonic before, there's like a huge parking lot from the actual building to like the church next door. There's no way this person could have ran that fast, because I got out. It was like 20 degrees out and almost hit this guy. So I got out of my car to say something to him. He was gone, disappeared. And he was wearing like black cloak type jacket with a tall, like a Lincoln hat, or maybe like a little taller than a fedora hat.
Okay.
And later on, I spoke to Wendy Spencer that runs the place. Like, we talked about the stories before. I said, what do you think about this person? And she goes, oh, that's such and such. She hangs out on the staircase. And all of a sudden my body just like had this electrical feeling, like, and Chris, you know what I'm talking about. It's just, you just have this charge that comes to you when you write about something, or, something paranormal. And that's what happened. So I started doing some research and stuff locally. I saw a page on Facebook called Racine Paranormal Friends. The guy that originally ran it, he decided to go a different direction. He canceled it, so I reopened one and went from there, gathered a bunch of people, and decided to call it Racine Paranormal Investigators. So, been around since 2014.
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of different paranormal TV shows that do different strategies. Some are scientific, some use things that are a lot of people consider pseudoscience, the mediums, and everything like that. What is your guys' technique on this?
Both.
Both.
Most of the time we walk in with a science approach, a scientific approach. And what we do then is we bring our mediums afterwards, or towards the end, maybe, or middle, maybe later on the middle, and do a walkthrough. And then we compare notes between the two and see what we got. We do have a medium on our team right now. She can literally cut it off, so she's also an investigator. She's gotten that good, and we have multiples that we work with. So, but yeah, that's what we try to do.
I have kind of a problem with using the scientific method for a paranormal research. Like, that is the cut and dry standard issue. It has to be an experiment that is repeatable by other people doing the same exact thing. But when you deal with intelligent species such as orangutans, chimpanzees, and stuff, if they don't feel like doing it that day, they're not going to go for the treat because they're not in the mood. And I feel like with the paranormal, you can't make a ghost do something over and over again every time to infinity, Yeah.
No.
So you
can't.
If you go at it scientifically, you can't win, Yeah.
And the paranormal is...
Well, scientifically meaning that we use...
Scientific method.
Gear, scientific.
Okay.
That's the scientific part. Yeah, that's the scientific part of it. We actually use EMF detectors. We use the SLS camera that's used for the Xboxes. It's basically able to map out spirits that you may see. And we've actually asked questions. They wave. Everything is legit with that. From what we found, And I don't call myself an expert or anything, and it's impossible to call somebody an expert in this type of field because it constantly keeps changing and keeps adding. As
the paranormal is such an unproven field too. Like there's nothing has been proven scientifically. So how can you use scientific methods if it's completely unproven? That part never made any sense to me. What's to say that a K2 meter doesn't work? What's to say a spirit box doesn't work? There's no science backing it up.
And I know working in college, I know a lot of professors that believe in ghosts, but they said through funding and everything, I will never put it down on paper. I will never agree in public that ghosts are real because they're trying to get a paycheck. And if somebody can use something against them, like, hey, this kook believes in ghosts, you're going to give him the grant? Like, so science won't even back it up because they're scared of losing a 30-year career just by saying, yeah, I believe in ghosts.
Yeah, and I use the term science loosely, only because that is probably the best way to describe the difference between going into a spiritual aspect of it instead of what we do. You know what I mean? Or not what we do, but the science, what we call science part, the technical the tools that we use. Basically, that's where the science really of it is. So that's where we come up with that. But no, I get what you're saying totally. I mean, but I think the past 10 years, the attitude and things have also changed about the what else is there to do after this? You know what I mean? There's also been proven that, you know, the weight of a person before they die and after they die, there's a difference in weight.
Yeah, supposedly 17 grams or something.
I'm not talking about what's end up on the bed, you know, after you go, but yeah, I think that's the number exactly. Yeah. So, you know, it's still something that's still, there's always gonna be a curiosity to everybody, I think, with that. Yeah.
It does seem to bring in a lot of curious minds into this field. Just want to know like what is. It's open-minded people, I believe, really get into that. So, how do you we're losing him a little bit, but Chris, if we're losing him, I can still ask you this: how do you document all of the research, or where do you put it, or what do you do with it if you catch something? Like, what's the next step?
Well, a lot of groups, they do reports. You know, some groups do more in-depth reports. Ron, you want to answer that? How does RPI handle reports?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You know, basically same thing as what Chris is saying. Like, you know, do some type of report of some kind, and then we'll load it up like on the Dropbox or something, keep it on file, and then we will present it to whoever we're investigating for. Say, okay, these are our findings. Some of it was just because you have bad electrical. Some of it was because, you know, there's a draft that opens your door. Sometimes we debunk a lot of things too. So
yeah,
which it eases their mind big time.
Yeah, it gives people a lot of good peace of mind. You know, I've done that a number of times with my past group. You know, we've gone and done investigations, and we found out, well, they have, you know, an alarm clock. You know, alarm clocks give off crazy EMF signals, especially older ones, like the flip numbers, crazy. And, you know, what do people have 6 inches from their head every night? You know, an alarm clock. So if they're seeing shadow people, you know, we'll move the alarm clock for a couple of nights and see if that helps. And 9 times out of 10, that will help.
Wow. Do you know, how does the EMS affect the brain in that manner?
High EMF frequencies really mess with the brain. They cause hallucinations, and, you know, they make you see things that aren't really there.
Stuff, vomiting.
Yeah.
So even if somebody says there's a ghost in my house, you could actually come over and help them with a health crisis, potentially, right?
Yeah. You know, a lot of people.
Possibly. I mean, we do an interview. Yeah.
A lot of people are afraid of basements, and if you go into a basement, look up. What do you see? That's all the electrical wiring.
Lights. Oh crap! I got it.
It's all the electrical wiring throughout the house, and there's crazy EMFs in spots in your basement too. So if there's a certain, like, we did an investigation at a bar where the lady in the basement by the cooler was always experiencing something. She was always seeing something, and the EMF was like off the chart in that spot where she was seeing things. So we attributed that to high EMFs, why she was seeing things.
This may be just a dumb question, but I'm going to ask it anyway. Does it always have to be electrical? Because I know currents can travel through the air. Can there just be a passing by EFM current going across the land or anything like that? Or how does that work?
No, I suppose that would be possible.
Well,
like a shockwave of EMF from something?
Well, maybe not a visual shockwave, but you know, as far as, you know, like you know, you get that electrical tingling feeling, like, you know, your hair and your arms start standing up and things like that. Those are sometimes signs of some type of spirit activity. I know we've had that happen numerous times before, because your body starts adjusting to what you do and starts, you know, noticing things and identifying stuff.
My knee will tell you 15 minutes before it's going to rain. I'll tell you that.
Like right now?
Yeah.
I know that feeling all too well. Ron,
old sucker.
What's the weirdest thing you've ever experienced on an investigation? I have a story. I'll go first. The weirdest thing I've ever experienced, I think Tom might know this story, but this was 6 months after I joined my last group, right? There's this woman that is experiencing shadow people. She's experiencing her toilet flushing on its own. nobody in the group wants to do this investigation because it's in a bad neighborhood. The woman was a stripper. Nobody wanted to do it. So they gave it to me and the other rookie, Andy. So we go to this apartment, not in a great neighborhood. It's the woman and her little boy. They live there alone. Very nice woman, very nice little boy. Tell her what we're going to do. So she leaves, her and her little boy go off, go to the bar, do whatever she does, whatever. And we start doing EVP sessions, right? We start in the living room. Nothing happens in the living room. Nothing of consequence. We go to the hallway. Nothing happened there. We go to the little boy's room. Nothing there. We go to the woman's room. It's pitch black. This woman has like blackout curtains. So I've got my UV flashlight. I always look for bodily fluids where I'm going to sit, right? Because I'm sitting on the edge of this lady's bed. So I check for bodily fluids. Nothing there. Okay, cool. We sit down. We start our EVP session. 5 minutes in, I'm like, Andy, do you smell that? And he's like, no, I don't smell anything. I was like, it's like burning rubber. I swear to God, do you smell that? No. So I click my UV flashlight and I'm looking around. I don't see anything. And then I look over by the lady's closet and she's got one of these like shoe racks with all the pouches in it. It's filled with dildos, strap-ons, ball gags, whips, you name it. It's lit up like a Christmas tree in the UV light. And on the ground, on the carpet, it was stained too. Like stuff was dripping off these things, right? Like we're done. We're done here.
Put away what?
Turned out this woman, she had a closet door open in the hallway, and she had a bunch of psychiatric anti-psych medications. That's what we all of her experiences too. So medication also
mixing medication too could be.
Yeah. So that was my
questions.
I want to know what Ron's weirdest experience was.
Oh gosh. We were at a location and one of the investigators claims that she was being aroused by a spirit.
All right.
Yeah, she felt like. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was aroused by a spirit named Steven.
Okay. How'd she get the name?
I have no clue. I think it came through the SB7, I believe. It came through the SB7.
Also, you actually heard. So she was being aroused, eh? Yeah,
she felt him. She felt his touch and everything. Yeah. Yeah, that was a very interesting evening.
We've all heard of that happening. What was the movie? The Entity?
Ghostbusters.
Yeah. Yeah. It happened on Ghostbusters. We know that.
Yeah.
Gargoyles.
That's kind of awesome.
But
I can't say that happened to me.
Yeah. You were talking about EMF before. We've done demonic cases. We've had cases where there's been no electromagnetic field going off or anything. Like it's total dead silence. But yet, the woman that we helped out, she had scratch marks galore all over her body. And then, of course, we work with a reverend out of Madison, Michael Schrader, and he comes in and assists with exorcisms. But those are times where you may not have any EMF whatsoever. You have to dig a little deeper.
Yeah. So what's your responsibility to helping these people when you do find stuff? You said sometimes you'll bring in mediums, priests. You'll get rid of it.
Yeah, well, we'll do what we can to get rid of it. A lot of times, just taking control of your own house and say, "Hey, you got to go." You know what I mean? You have to leave, and you have to be forceful about that. And then most of the time, like when we work with the Reverend, he actually gives assignments to do, what to do, things like that. And we also work with any of their religion that they may have, and we'll find somebody maybe not from our team, maybe from another team to assist. They may specialize in certain things because, we don't hold an ego of any kind to say, oh, well, our team can handle everything. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
We help other teams out. They help us out. And at least the ones that want that, some don't want that, but we have a very knowledge-based group to help figure out what to do. So,
yeah. How big is your group currently?
Right now, we have 13 people on our team.
Wow.
I plan to grow some more because not everybody's available at every investigation. And, it's nice. We used to be able to do about 2 investigations at a time. Some people left, some people did their own thing. So, but sometimes we get busy. Sometimes we get slammed the whole month of investigations. A lot of private stuff. I mean, we do go to places such as Waverly Hills down in Kentucky. We were there last year. This year we're going to the Ohio State Penitentiary. Both were on TV. Both were Ghost Adventures, Ghost Hunters, whatnot. So, matter of fact, Ghost Hunters was there a week before we were. So that was kind of cool, seeing what they did, and whatnot. So,
do you ever exchange notes with other investigators that might have been at that place?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, definitely. And the nice thing is, I know a lot of us, I know Chris is too, belong to paranormal, Facebook groups. And they always talk about those types of locations, and they post videos or whatnot. Some have YouTube channels or whatever. So, we're able to see like, oh yeah, that's where, such the rock thrown at them, and then of course us as fools will go by that place where they got the rock thrown at them and see what happens to us. Yep. We'll see if we get hit with a rock. but yeah, we try to exchange ideas and thoughts or whatever. And I know we work with U.S. paranormal researchers. We've actually called them on cases and give them, see what their thoughts were on certain things, and we're available for them and they're available for us. So
when is the trip to Ohio State?
I believe that one is in June. And if you're interested, I can talk to you about that later.
I am. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, that's
cool
awesome.
Spot.
Yeah. So Tom has an interesting story to tell about his house.
Oh, geez. Yeah, we're not even living in my house right now. It's been taken over.
Oh, wow.
It's a long story, but I'll try to cut it short for the show. But we bought an old house, 1924, and everything was going fine. And it started slow, and it was only messing with me. Was not messing with my girlfriend. It chose me. So, like, one night I'm in the bathroom and I hear footsteps outside the door, like obnoxious. And I look and nothing's there. Next night, we just moved in. We have hardwood floors. It's gorgeous. And I hear, like, I think Molly's bringing something in, like dragging a shovel or something across the floor. And I'm like mid-turd, and I kick the door open to stop her because you're fucking up the floors, and nothing's there. Nothing's there. So I'm outside one night having a cigarette before bed, and I look upstairs and I see it looks like a lady on a skateboard wearing almost like pajamas, but kind of like a dress mixed with pajamas, all in white.
Jumper.
She skateboards out of my office into my bedroom. I run upstairs and I go in, and Molly says, "Oh, I thought you already came in. I thought you were in here." That's the lady in white. Well, fast forward. We found this old weird trunk in the attic. It's got like baptism candles, all kinds of stuff. I finally found a name on a baptism candle. So one day, it's like my birthday. We're having a party. I looked this kid up on Facebook. Turns out to be a kid. And no, it was before my birthday. I'm getting the story out of order here. I said, "Hey, I got your crate." And he's like, "Oh, awesome. I'll come over and get it." Didn't hear anything. He had my phone number. Actually, on my birthday, this is where my birthday came in, the guy's dad comes in. No, he said the kid died on my birthday that I talked to that night who was going to come get it. Died on my birthday. The dad came over. They used to live in the house. And he said, "Hey, just out of the blue, we're helping him get the crate out of the attic and stuff." And he's like, you ever have anything paranormal happen here? He's like, there's a little boy that hides all kinds of stuff. And I'm like, yeah, stuff just key to the shed will disappear. One day we'll come back in. I'll come in the house from work before Molly gets home. Every cabinet door and every drawer, upstairs cabinets, dresser drawers, everything is open once in a while. No schedule, just once in a great while. And then we had a paranormal team come over there, utterly insane, from the insane asylum. They said it was the most paranormal house they've ever been to. We fast forward to, I thought I had COVID, that I couldn't pick myself up off the floor. I was being pinned to the floor. And then the one day Molly was downstairs in the basement, and Molly, my girlfriend, is about 100 pounds soaking wet. Sometimes I just body slam her for fun, like, oh, we're going to bed. Now we're going to bed. And I'll slam her on the bed. She told me she felt that she was being pinned to the basement floor. And when I went to pull her up, it was like I could not budge her. It was like she was welded to the floor. Something was holding her down.
Wow.
And we kind of been hanging out at my parents'. We go over there and mow the lawn. We tried crystals. I got a bunch of crystals, all kinds of stuff. Did sage. Yelled at it. I don't know.
Without saying your address, like, where are you? I mean,
Grafton, Wisconsin.
Oh, okay, Grafton. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so it's the lady in white that I don't like. The boy is fine, but it's weird. I don't know. It's kind of like a quick rundown of things that have happened.
They need to cross over.
Yeah, so that's why I wanted to get the Racine guys in there.
Sure. And that's why I asked so vividly, do you get rid of it? I've had a paranormal team come in and say, yep. And then they leave, and now it's all pissed off and getting worse. Like, no, take that shit with you. I'd like to have, it's a beautiful 3-story old colonial kind of farmhouse. And, we got 4 outbuildings. We got just double lot, real nice in the middle of Grafton. It's a beautiful house, but it scares the shit out of me.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'd definitely be interested in checking it out. I would have to make sure that the medium that we work with is available for that. And maybe this weekend. We'll see. I'll check with the group. Chris, are you available this weekend?
I should be.
Okay.
All right.
Whenever.
We'll do partially day,
or whenever.
It's.
Kind of I've been helping out with my parents at their house, so.
When's the times that it's most active? Which time is it most active?
I forgot. I left out this part the last time we left. I saw the lady in white one more time. It's middle of winter when we were at the house. We have a balcony in our bedroom that we walk out. It's like a nice little balcony. It got so cold in the bedroom that I thought the balcony door blew open. I could see my breath. I got up to shut the door and it was closed. And we keep like one of them salt lamps just in the room. Those Himalayan salt lamps. And I swear I saw something. I was looking in the mirror, like look over my head and then use my own reflection to hide itself. And I was like, Molly, we're done. We got to go.
Understandable.
That creeped me out. And maybe it was just me being tired, but the room should not have been that cold. It was weird.
Okay. Oh, yeah.
But I just woke up, so anything could have been, half asleep. I'm one of those guys that if I wake up in the middle of the night and I gotta pee, I will keep my eyes closed and sit down and not turn the light on and just try not to wake myself up. So you never know. I'm open to that, but it was nothing but.
Going to take a pee just ruins everything. You know what I mean? It's like, oh my gosh, I can go back to sleep.
Yeah. But now we're staying at my parents, so if I do that and my mom wakes up in the middle of the night, I'm just sitting on the toilet having sleep with the light off. What are you doing? Trying not to wake up, and you're really making it hard.
Yeah.
Not that way. Nah. But
yeah. Oh wow. That's really interesting. Have you been hurt at all? I mean, have you been touched or anything? Or
just the pinning down on the floor, but
pinning down the floor. Okay. All right.
But you know what? It was like exhausting, taking your energy away type thing.
Oh, okay. So probably trying to use your energy to manifest itself some more.
Yeah, but when it was holding Molly down, you know what? It did not mess with Molly for like a year. It was messing with my head till after the paranormal investigators came and said they found stuff, made me feel relieved. And I don't know if Molly just doesn't want to, there's Insane Asylum. They were the ones who did the investigation, but I don't know if Molly just didn't want her house to be haunted. Like maybe it was messing with her and she just wasn't saying anything, but I'm kind of like, yeah, it's her first house. It's a beautiful house. She doesn't want to live in a haunted house. She's just going to ignore it. Like, but now she's kind of like, yeah, it's been doing stuff. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let me get the troop together and see.
That'd be cool.
For last minute investigations, but I don't.
You don't have to. It's no rush. It's no rush. No rush. No, we can get on more with the interview. It's not a private conversation of me setting something. So where else do you guys like to go? Yeah.
We've been all over the place. We just did one up north and what was that, Chris? What was that place called that we just you weren't able to go, but it's like La Pazia?
Yeah, something like it's near Green Bay.
Okay.
Just a little west of Green Bay, I think. Yeah, I don't think I could pronounce it either.
Okay. What's your opinion on doing outdoor investigations? Is that just too contaminated to even worry about, or he might have froze there, Chris? I'll let you handle that one.
We froze. Well, when I was in my other group, they never did outdoor investigations because you couldn't control it.
Mm-hmm.
Couldn't control the environment, so that was a no. I know a lot of groups do outdoors investigations. They'll do cemeteries. They'll do locations where there were buildings.
Oh, there you are.
There he is. He's back. Ron's back.
That was weird.
Yeah, I was just asking about outdoor investigations. No go on those.
Oh, we've done a few of those. We've done a few of those. We've done. We actually were working a case for. To try to locate for a Jane Doe. And where they had her buried at was in a Catholic cemetery. And we have an EVP saying, "Don't talk to him." So it might have been a nun or something like that, but it said something like, "Don't talk to him." But we don't usually do too many of those cemetery stuff because it's just, I don't know, kind of. Unless it's an older one, like we did one in Kentucky that was pretty freaky. That thing was scary.
Yeah.
And there was rumors about that place being like having a lot of bad juju. And of course, I didn't find out until later. So,
are those the ones that have the residual haunting?
Yeah. Well, it was. I can't say I didn't know. I did know. But the thing is I didn't realize, and I was thinking, I was like, we're from the north, and that's the south. We're coming in.
We're Yankees.
We're stirring stuff up just by showing up. And with all the whole stuff that was going on at the time, I think the Breonna Taylor shooting happened around that time. So you had a lot of different, probably spiritual emotions going on that whole area. So
do you ever use like trigger objects, like say you're doing one of those Civil War things, if you dressed in a blue uniform or something, dressed like a Union soldier?
Yeah, we do. We'll play if it's placed like from the 1920s or something, we'll play music from the 1920s. I know we did a place that had a ballroom, and so we were playing like older music to see if it would interact with it. I told Missy I was gonna use her as a trigger object over at Shakers one night and see what happens. see how it reacts to her. And then what else we've used too? Oh, we have like this thing called the Boo Bear. Basically, what it is, if you touch it, it lights up.
Okay.
Then there's other like a lot of stuff that we use is not used for ghost hunting. It's used for other things, but it just works so great for it. Like
what are some of those? Okay.
Light sensors, like when you're walking down the hallway, cat toys. If you touch them, they light up. Things like that. So
This is an odd question I always had. How come you can hear EVPs back, but not in real time?
From what I know,
Mm-hmm.
spirits are able to speak in a higher frequency than we can hear.
Okay.
That's what I've heard. And I think that's the reason why you're able to hear them speak through an SB7 or some type of radio that's been modified, that spirits are able to speak in between frequencies. And I think the frequencies, like from the radio, kind of like magnifies the signal of their abilities, and everything is by I wonder, or it could be, not saying it's right or not saying it's wrong. It's just things that we picked up on. And I know Chris, same thing, it's trial and error. And certain things we if it works for us, we're going to keep trying it, see what happens. So, but the veil is getting thinner and thinner, there's more and more stuff that comes out. There's apps now that are pretty legit, that are pretty impressive, that come through. And then he also has a physical part of it. Go ahead. Sorry.
No, Chris, you never explained why you got into the paranormal.
So I had an experience when I was younger. I was 9 or so. My sister had a boyfriend at the time. She was about 15. He was about the same. My parents took myself and my sister and her boyfriend out to the circus, the Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Circus. And he was going to spend the night. He was going to spend the night in my room with my bunk bed. I was excited. I was have a big kid spend the night in my bunk bed. And so the circus went fine. We got home. I was sleeping in the top bunk. He was sleeping in the bottom bunk, and I couldn't sleep because I didn't like the top bunk. I was scared shitless of heights and was freaking out because I'm in the top bunk. And there was this shadow figure in my room that was I remember it like it was yesterday. Red eyes, just looking at this kid in my bottom bunk, and freaked shit out of me. And a couple of years later, he was murdered. Some drug dealers thought that his apartment was the apartment of the person that owed them money. So they knocked on the door, he opened it up, and they just shot his head off with a shotgun. The guy that they wanted was the next door over. So I always thought that this guy just had this entity attached to him, this evil thing. So that was my first experience.
Like death was following him, hey, or something. Like
that's what I thought. Yeah.
Whew.
Dang.
So then, and you've never had anything when you were looking for it, hey? Wow. Yeah, that creeped me out.
Yeah, so that was at a time when I didn't know anything about ghosts. Like I was so freaking innocent. Like I didn't know hauntings, I didn't know monsters, I didn't know ghosts, I didn't know anything about that. I didn't know anything about shadow figures.
Yeah.
Pretty innocent kid.
And then you started Twisted Dream Horror Film Festival and do paranormal hunting. Yeah.
When I was 10, I saw a creep show in the theater, and I was sold on horror ever since then.
Yeah, that's the way to go.
Cool.
So when do you notice things ramp up? You were talking about ramping up. Does it maybe come around like a good horror movie comes out, or people are just on edge, or towards Halloween when it gets all creepy?
It we can be busy in January. We can get messages in January saying that they have issues or whatnot. But I think people are two things. Is that around Halloween they start watching all the ghost hunting shows when they have those, what they call them, when they play like 100 of them in one day. They play a bunch of them.
Marathon
term. Marathon. They do a marathon of ghost shows or whatever, and I think then they start, hearing little things. Okay, wonder if it was that, saw it on TV. So,
The suggestions
kinda,
there.
Yeah, it kind of plays tricks with them, a little bit with their minds. But you also have the holiday Halloween itself. I mean, it's also an attraction for the dead. Is a lamer's term, the dead. So
Chris did a paranormal investigation last Halloween for what was it? The Blue Moon on Halloween, the Halloween at the Arts Mill.
Oh yeah, that's right. We did that.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
And it was like first time in 500 years it was a blue moon on Halloween.
Yep.
How was the activity?
We had some strange things happen. Toilets flushing.
Yeah.
Wow.
A set of lights that are all connected to the same switch. We were walking underneath it, just going out to have a smoke, no cameras rolling or anything. And just the middle one flickered about 5 times, went off and went on. And we couldn't recreate that. It wasn't scary or anything, but we couldn't. It was Joe from Insane Asylum and myself were going to have a smoke. And I'm glad he was there. He's glad I was there. But we couldn't figure out how to it was a line of all lights connected. We couldn't pound on the walls or make it just. Mm-hmm. So that was weird. Nothing scary.
That's some scary stuff.
Yeah,
I know, like with demonic cases.
Uh-oh.
It was like a first or second one we did before, and weird things would happen sometimes with demonic cases, like before we actually go into it or whatever. Because a lot of times we'll do a walkthrough and then we'll have the actual investigation a couple days after. Depends on the situation. And when we did this, when we did the walkthrough or whatnot, the little girl was talking about different things and, things that she shouldn't be talking about. Talking about Legion and, saying like names of demons that she should not know these things at 5 years old, And I was sleeping one night and I heard 3 big knocks on my wall. And my ex-wife at the time, I was like, did you hear that? She's like, no, I didn't hear nothing, I was like, there's somebody pounding on the wall, just, I didn't hear nothing, go back to bed, okay, whatever. So I was sleeping on the chair because I was watching TV. And I was like, I'm just going to stay on the chair. Well, then I felt actually something lift me up out of my chair, which, I mean, I'm a big guy, but I actually felt something grab me and try to lift me off my chair and says, leave them alone, and slam me back into the chair.
Whoa.
And, I was stunned. I didn't know what to say. I didn't know what to think. I was just like, wow. And I never had a problem since then, but I mean, we still took care of the case. And, like one of the other members had dead animals in their front yard, by their doorway, just weird stuff.
So sometimes this can be dangerous. It can follow you home, hey?
There's always that possibility. Every group does their own thing to protect themselves. We always pray before and afterwards. It's just how we roll. Some groups don't do that. They do other things, and all respect to them. They have their own thing what they do, but that's where the spiritual part comes in when we start using those types of things.
So how do you determine? Obviously, it was with the demonic one that a little girl was spitting out names. But how do you determine when something like goes from just spirits to demonic? Like, is there how do you know?
Well, the one case, like I said before, where there was no type of activity whatsoever, but I'm visually seeing marks and scratch marks going on this woman as we spoke. That kind of gave me an indication that something wasn't right. We do a thing called passive provoking. And what we basically do is walk around with the Bible and read scriptures and see the reactions of the house. If there's any types of other noises that normally wouldn't be heard, or ultimately the reaction of the homeowner to see how they act. That situation there, what we did was I asked her for a Bible for her own house. And I said, so we went around and didn't get much. So I say, hey, I'm gonna read this to you, and I just want to see, just sit here for a minute. I'm gonna read this real quick. So I picked a random scripture and started reading it, and she started getting. I will, Missy. Then she was getting like a little agitated. I was watching her. She was getting like a little nervous, fidgety, and I'm like, "Hey, you okay?" She's like, "Yeah, I'm fine." All right, I'm gonna continue reading. So I continued on, and then I was like, "What's wrong?" She's like, I'm not feeling so great. I'm not, something don't feel right." And I'm like, "Okay, all right." So, but what I really need you to do is do me a favor. Go ahead and read any scripture you want in the Bible. I don't care which one it is. Pick one, So she did it. We just, just with the pages, just kind of, and then put her finger on and picked one. She started reading. She couldn't make it through the whole sentence. So that kind of gave us an indication that something wasn't right. So I had a crucifix. I always keep a crucifix with me. And so I said, "Well, how do you feel about this?" And I put her on the table, and she just kind of freaked out. And she'll tell her story. She has no problem doing that. And she basically said that I'm not liking you at all. You need to leave, or I forget what she said. Yeah, she said you need to leave and this and that. I was like, "No, I'm not leaving. No, your husband wants me here. We're going to do this."
Mm-hmm.
So I went to another room. The others were kind of doing their own thing, trying to get some more readings if they could. And that's when I called the pastor up and I told him all these different things that were going on. So he kind of tells me that, okay, this sounds legit. I'll come down from Madison because he lives near Madison. So he kind of he dispatches us to different places to check things out. And we do the same thing for him. So I have a good relationship that way. So sorry, a little long-winded on that one.
No, that's very interesting. Then the pastor comes and takes care of it.
Yeah, he actually does a full-fledged exorcism. He has his robe and everything he does, and usually we have 2 to 3 staff members there. We either hold the person down to keep them from hurting themselves or anybody else. Usually it's not. Usually they don't really get hurt or anything, but there's always that potential chance. I've seen him go on for a half hour, 20 minutes to 2 to 3 hours. These types of things, and he has a set of prayers and procedures he uses, and on the spiritual side, it's very powerful. I'll just leave it at that. It's something else. I don't feel when I'm there doing that with him. I don't feel like I'm in harm in any way. I feel very protected. So.
Oh, wow. Well, that's never seen a live exorcism. But funny story about me, I am related to one of the priests that did the exorcism from the movie. Not one of the two main guys. I learned this from Anna Lardenoy's book that my mom's maiden name is Van Roo. There was a Van Roo that was kind of like a Jedi apprentice priest that was with there. There was a third guy, like a priest in training, and that was somebody related to me. So he was like a witness.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, it's
maybe that's why your house is haunted.
It's very interesting.
I know. Could be.
Yeah, there you go.
Somebody's getting revenge. Ron, tell us about Paracon coming up.
Yes, Paracon 2021. My goodness. It's gonna be the second weekend of November. As of this moment, it's going to be just that Saturday, the second week of November. But we're also going to have a meet and greet the night before for that Friday. And more information is coming in. We're going to have booths there. We're going to be having some names come through. I can't announce those yet because those still have to be, locked in and whatnot. But it's going to be at the Masonic, and the Durand building is attached to the Masonic also. Some of the proceeds goes towards the Durand building to help save it, and when I say save it, basically to help it out, because they rely on weddings. That place, it is haunted, by the way. And I can't say haunted. It's just like me using haunted. It is occupied by spirits. But it's a very, very cool place, and we're doing everything we can to help preserve it and keep it there. We're working on a couple projects with them right now to try to prove that it was part of the Underground Railroad. And if that's the case, then they can get grant money for that. So we're doing everything we can to try to pull information and do research and help out.
Very cool. Yep. All right. Do you have anything coming up soon?
It'll be cool though. It'll be a really neat.
For sure. We need more in person.
What's that, Chris?
We need more in-person events like this coming up. Something like this. 2020 nobody did. So it's good to see things coming back.
Definitely.
Yeah, and one of our mediums is doing he's doing a show coming up too at the Masonic. So as soon as I get information about that, I'll shoot that guys. I'll shoot that to you guys. So
sounds
definitely.
Good. Tom, do you have anything else before we wrap it up?
No, thank you very much for coming on, Ron. It was a pleasure meeting you.
Oh, no problem. It was cool. It was awesome, and it'd be great to come back on sometime if there's any certain topics you want to talk about. Definitely.
Heck yeah. And let us figure out when we could go to Tom's house and get rid of his spooks.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Once I get settled in and everything, I'll shoot a message on our private page and get something set up. I'd love to check it out, and hopefully we can assist. And I do have to say this is that working with other paranormal groups, it's good to compare notes and see what they found and help each other out with different things. So
one
it would be great to compare notes with the other group.
I should warn ahead of time that Tom and Molly, his girlfriend, are nudists. So when they're at home, they don't ever wear clothes. So just heads up on that. And
no one in the house either. Just those go. They're like shoes.
Oh, good. I don't have to wear my clothes. Oh, good. I don't have to wear clothes that day. Thank God.
All right. That's all we have time for. I know I've been promising you guys some fun-loving morticians to come on, but they had to work tonight. Hopefully next week they can come on. I guess the corpse.
They see dead people.
They're piling up in Milwaukee. So hopefully next week we'll have them on. They've got some.
Well, I can't wait to hear this.
Crazy dead people stories. Anyway, go ahead, give us a thumbs up, click like, click follow, do whatever. We'll talk to you next week. Thanks for coming on.